It's been 45 years since Flash Gordon blasted onto cinema screens, gave us the greatest soundtrack in science fiction history, and made an entire generation shout, "Gordon's alive!" And the cast? Royalty who walked away from Hollywood. A man whose face you never saw. A football hero who went to war with the most powerful producer in the world. Deaths, disappearances, courtrooms, and a comeback nobody saw coming. Let's see where they all ended up in 2026. Sam J. As Flash Gordon. Sam J. Jones was born on August 12, 1954 in Chicago, Illinois, and was 26 years old when he played Flash Gordon, the quarterback who crash lands into the most insane adventure in the galaxy and plays every second of it completely straight. Here is what most people never knew. Sam Jones beat out both Kurt Russell and Arnold Schwarzenegger for this role. A producer's mother-in-law spotted him on a TV game show, pointed at the screen, and that was it. Then he and producer Dino De Laurentiis had a falling out so severe that Jones walked off set before filming finished. His voice was dubbed. The planned sequel trilogy died with that argument. The aftermath was brutal. Years of TV movies, direct-to-video work, a career reshaped by one single fight. He quietly built a real career as a security specialist in San Diego. Then in 2012, Seth MacFarlane put him in Ted as himself. Still blonde? I still every inch the hero. And the world remembered everything. Today, in 2026, Sam J. Jones is 71 years old and still showing up. Flash Gordon beat Ming with a football tackle and no plan. Sam J. Jones survived Hollywood the same way. Same method, completely different arena. Max von Sydow as Emperor Ming the Merciless. Max von Sydow was born on April 10, 1929 in Lund, on Sweden, and was 51 years old when he played Ming the Merciless, the only actor alive who could make that ridiculous golden costume feel genuinely terrifying, simply because he had 70 serious films behind him and absolutely nothing to prove. Before Flash Gordon, he had already played Jesus Christ, Father Barin in The Exorcist, and the knight playing chess with death in Bergman's The Seventh Seal. He walked onto Mongo, put on the robes, and made every other actor in the building feel underdressed. He played Ming with total, icy boredom, a man destroying planets not from rage, but from sheer tedium. Critics who dismissed everything else in the film made an exception for him. Then he just kept going. Game of Thrones at 86. 2 Oscar nominations across a career spanning 7 decades. Still working at 90 when he died peacefully in Provence, France on March 8, 2020. Ming declared he tested life every 1,000 years. Max von Sydow tested every genre, every director, every language across 70 years, and passed every single one. Brian Blessed as Prince Voltan. Brian Blessed was born on October 9, 1936 in Mexborough, England, and was 43 years old when he played Prince Voltan, the winged, bellowing, gold-clad king of the Hawkmen. His father was a coal miner. He grew up in a Yorkshire mining village. He scratched his way into drama school and became a classically trained Shakespearean actor before anyone ever put wings on him. He had even been offered Doctor Who in 1966 and turned it down. And here is the part nobody sees coming. As a child, he had literally played Voltan in backyard games based on the old Flash Gordon serials. He grew up and did it for real. After Flash Gordon, he attempted to climb Everest 3 times without oxygen, survived a plane crash in the Venezuelan jungle, he trekked to the North Pole, and got a pacemaker in 2015, then told the cardiologist he felt 20 years younger. He has been married to actress Hildegard Neal since 1978. Today, in 2026, Brian Blessed is 89 years old. Voltan asked who wants to live forever. Blessed has been answering that question with his whole body for 89 years. Hold on. Before we go any further, we still have a man whose face was never shown on screen, an actress who turned down James Bond, a villain who hid his entire life behind a real mask, and a woman who walked away from all of this and built something more important than fame. Every single one of them will surprise you. If you're not subscribed yet, now is the moment, because what's coming next is the part nobody talks about. Topol as Dr. Hans Zarkov. Topol was born Chaim Topol on September 9, 1935 in Tel Aviv, and was 44 years old when he played Dr. Hans Zarkov, the unhinged scientist who kidnaps Flash at gunpoint, gets brainwashed by the enemy, then fights the brainwashing through sheer willpower alone. He was not discovered in a theater. He was discovered in the Israeli army. An officer overheard him making soldiers laugh and told him he had a gift. He went on to play Tevi in Fiddler on the Roof on London's West End, left mid-run to serve in the Six-Day War, returned to the stage, then beat Zero Mostel himself for the 1971 film version. Oscar nomination, Golden Globe. He then played Tevye continuously for 50 years. London, Broadway, Tokyo, everywhere. the longest relationship between an actor and a single role in theatrical history. In 2022, his family quietly revealed he had been living with Alzheimer's. He died in Tel Aviv on March 8, 2023, at 87. Zarkov resisted brainwashing by holding on to his memories. In the end, Topol's memories left him first. And that one hurts, and it never stops hurting. Ornella Muti as Princess Aura. Ornella Muti was born on March 9, 1955 in Rome, Italy, and was just 25 years old when she played Princess Aura, Ming's daughter who saves Flash Gordon from execution purely because she wants him, gets tortured by her own father for it, and turns against him anyway. Every layer of that character landed because Ornella Muti played it like she meant every word. Her father died when she was 10. She began modeling at 13 to help her family survive. By the time she walked onto the Flash Gordon set, she had already made 23 films and was one of the most recognizable actresses in Europe. The year after Flash Gordon, she was offered the Bond girl role in For Your Eyes Only, and turned it down because they refused to hire her own costume designer. That choice alone tells you exactly who she is. In 2015, an Italian court convicted her of fraud over a cancelled appearance. She had been at a charity dinner in St. Petersburg with Putin and Kevin Costner instead. She paid compensation and moved on without blinking. Today, in 2026, Ornella Muti is 71 years old and still working. Princess Aura played by nobody's rules. Ornella Muti never did either. Timothy Dalton as Prince Barin. Timothy Dalton was born on March 21, 1946 in Colwyn Bay, Wales, and was 34 years old when he played Prince Barin, the forest prince who begins as Flash Gordon's enemy and ends as his greatest ally. Dalton played it with such genuine, restrained nobility that he became the emotional anchor of the entire middle act. What most people forget is that he had already been offered James Bond twice before Flash Gordon, once in 1968 when he felt too young, and again in the mid-1970s when the timing wasn't right. He was a classically trained RSC actor who had performed Shakespeare, played Heathcliff in Wuthering Heights, and appeared in The Lion in Winter, alongside O'Toole and Hepburn. He came to Flash Gordon as a serious actor, choosing interesting work, nothing more. 7 years later, he finally said yes to Bond, The Living Daylights, License to Kill, widely credited with bringing the character back to its darker, grounded roots after a decade of pure camp. Today, in 2026, Timothy Dalton is 79 years old. Penny Dreadful, The Crown, still going. Barin started as the villain and became the hero. Dalton spent his entire career proving the two were never that different. Melody Anderson as Dale Arden. Melody Anderson was born on December 3, 1955, in Edmonton, Canada, and was 24 years old when she played Dale Arden, the travel agent who gets blasted across the galaxy, imprisoned in a tyrant's bedchamber, and escapes largely on her own before Flash even arrives. Smart, grounded, the emotional center of a film that could have left her as furniture. Her path to the role was accidental. She had studied journalism, worked as a CBC reporter, traveled Asia and Australia, and was working through TV guest roles when she was flown to England on short notice after the original actress was replaced. The role was hers within days. Then she did something almost no one in Hollywood does. In the early 1990s, she looked at what the industry was doing to people around her, and she chose differently. She walked away, went back to university, completed a master's degree in social work, became a licensed clinical social worker specializing in addiction and family trauma. She has spent 30 years helping people rebuild their lives. Today, in 2026, Melody Anderson is 70 years old. Dale escaped Ming's palace by herself. Melody Anderson walked out of Hollywood by choice and spent 30 years helping others find the same exit. Peter Wyngarde as General Cletus. Peter Wyngarde was born around 1927 in what is now France. Even the year is disputed, a detail entirely in keeping with a man who kept almost everything about himself hidden, and was around 52 years old when he played General Cletus, Ming's gold-masked commander of the secret police. You never see his face, only the voice. And that voice made every scene genuinely cold. What hid behind that mask was staggering. As a child, he had been interned in a Japanese prison camp during World War II, alongside author J.G. Ballard. He built one of the most celebrated careers in 1960s British television, so stylish and wildly dressed that Mike Myers later named him the direct inspiration for Austin Powers. Then, in 1975, a conviction for gross indecency in a public restroom destroyed his career. Not because of any lack of talent, but because the law criminalized who he was. Flash Gordon in 1980 was one of the very few major roles that came to him afterward. Peter Wyngarde died on January 15, 2018, aged approximately 90. Cletus wore a mask because the role required it. Wyngarde wore one his entire life because the world gave him no choice. That is not the same thing at all. Mariangela Melato as General Kala. Mariangela Melato was born on September 18, 1941 in Milan, Italy, and was 38 years old when she played General Kala, Ming's ice-cold, militaristic second-in-command who runs the war machine with total, merciless efficiency. 4 words, 1 steel gaze, and the room goes cold. That was Melato. In Italy, she was not a supporting player. She was a superstar, one of the most acclaimed actresses in Italian cinema history. I'm best known for Lina Wertmüller's 1974 film, Swept Away, which brought her international recognition and changed the conversation about women in European cinema. She was funny, fierce, and completely fearless. General Kala was an outlier in her career, a Hollywood blockbuster, a villain, all in English, and she treated it with the same absolute precision she brought to everything. She worked continuously in Italian theater and film for 4 decades without pause. In Italy, when she died on January 11, 2013, at 71 years old, it was treated as a national loss. General Kala activated every weapon Ming had. Mariangela Melato spent her career doing the opposite, pouring everything she had into quiet, human Italian stories. Same precision, completely different purpose.